Hello, and welcome back to What Steven Reads. My name is Steven. For this week, I thought I would do the BookTube Newbie Tag. And I've been doing this for a few weeks now, and I'm learning. What time is better to upload, what times or days that no one seems to look or can't really figure that out. What thumbnails work, if there's a thumbnail, or if it's just a shot from the video I just took. So as time goes on, I'm sure I'll get used to it and see what works and what doesn't work. But yeah, I thought today would be a good time to do the BookTube Newbie Tag. So I have the questions in front of me, but what I want to say is, after doing this for a few weeks and learning some things and what I want to do and what I don't want to do, is I don't want to do a TBR video, what I'm going to read for the next month, because first of all, I never had a TBR. My TBR was always unread books on my bookshelf in the other room, and whatever is on my want to read list on Goodreads, just so I wouldn't lose that. And then once in a while, I would pick them up and add them to the bookshelf. So I don't feel like I want to lock myself in to pick 4, 6, 8 books to read in 1 month, because one, sometimes I don't have time to read that much, or I might be in the mood for it in that moment. And then say, week 2 comes and I'm just not in the mood to read those books anymore. So I don't want to lock myself in, and then I have to look back and say, oh, I didn't get to any of these. Meanwhile, I would have rather had taken something else out and read that instead. So I'm just going to go back to when I finish a book, I check my bookshelves and pick out a book that I want to read. And if I'm in a mood reading kind of way that week or day or night, I'm going to pick out something else the day after I picked out a new book for my next read. So I think that just works out better for me. I love watching TBR videos. That's how I hear about books to get and read and enjoy. A lot of stuff I would never had heard of before. So moving forward, I'm not going to focus on TBRs. I do know what I want to do is I just want to talk about books that I've enjoyed or what kind of mood I'm in to read something and things like that. I don't want to pigeonhole myself into doing a certain format all the time. And regarding audience, as the numbers grow for followers, they will find me. You can't force people to like your page or follow you on Instagram. And I am the type of person who, if I don't see numbers go up, I do get upset. I'm like, oh, how come no one's watching, or how come no one liked my picture? And you would think those things change as you get older, and sometimes they just don't. But with this, I'm enjoying doing this, and I'm getting fun out of it. So I'm just going to do what I feel I should do to engage with the fun of it for myself. And if people want to watch and enjoy and subscribe and like and all that stuff, that's great. But you can't force yourself onto anyone to like your stuff. So with that said, I'm going to read through I have a Google Doc I had saved from a Gemini search. And there goes Gemini turning on my tablet. No, stop, get out of the way. All right. Why did you start this channel? So I started this channel. I've been wanting to do this for a while. At first, I wanted to do an art YouTube page because I don't want to say I'm a former artist. I went to school for interior design. I have a BFA in interior design, and I always enjoyed drawing or computer graphics, drawing, Photoshop, pencil, watercolor. In the past few years, I've been trying to get into it. I stopped doing interior design and then started doing something else, which I've been doing for the past 17 and a half years, basically unrelated to anything art, nothing. So I've become very unartistic over the years and kind of tried here and there to get back into it. It never happened. And then 3 years ago, I just developed a lot of anxiety, and then that took about a year to subside a little bit. It's still there, but I don't know if it ever goes away. I hope it does one day. That'd be awesome. But 2 years ago, I may have explained in another video, I was just walking through Target and I saw In the Lives of Puppets by T.J. Klune, and I said, this sounds like something I'd like to read. So I picked it up, and that book took me about 2 months to read. Not because I'm a slow reader, just because I wasn't an avid reader. And I kept putting the book down, and then I wound up taking it on vacation with me, and I read it in the hotel room every night. And then after that, I just started reading a little bit faster, finishing the books faster, and then on this journey to fill my bookshelf with books that I think I'd be interested in. So fast forward to past few weeks, I said, I gotta do this. I wanted to start this a long time ago, and I said, now's the time. You know, what better time is there to do anything other than right now? Instead of saying I should have started, you know, a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. So that's why I started doing that, and I just enjoy books, I enjoy reading, and I don't have a local audience or a circle to really talk about books with. And even if I did, I would still want to do this because I think it's fun to reach out to people around the world and get suggestions for books. And I've enjoyed YouTube so much for BookTube. There's so many people I follow now. Some are new, some have been around for a long time, you know, ranging from I've watched a lot of books with Lala. There's a woman named Shaughnessy. I don't know if it's Shaughnessy Reads or Read with Shaughnessy, something like that. Life on Books, Books Are Sick, Jack Edwards, you know, and I love it. I say I want to be part of that. I want to start talking about books and just enjoy this time I have at home to do something I enjoy. You know, if you can't do what you enjoy in work, you got to do it on your own time. So, what are you most excited for about this new channel? I'm excited just to... It's amazing to reach out to people. You don't know who they are. They're just out there, and they're watching you talk about something. You know, YouTube's got everything. Science, books, Lego, you know, it's plants, you know. And I just find it fascinating that you could reach out to so many people, or a little few people that might watch the videos. And I just find that really fun. And I am getting more used to talking to the camera, which, you know, hopefully it gets easier as time goes on. What are some fun and unique things you could bring to BookTube? Well, what I want to do is, I do want to challenge myself. Like I said, I'm not going to do TBRs anymore. And I'm not going to run out to buy new books that just came out because everyone else is reading them. Those are out there. Those videos are out there, and that's great. But I really do want to focus on what I want to read. My range is so wide. You know, I recently got into James Baldwin, and I started reading his books, and he's really become my favorite author. I think Giovanni's Room is awesome. Never heard of it before. Never heard of James Baldwin. I might have probably heard of him, but I never read it. But Another Country is an amazing book that you should definitely read. I love it. And then, you know, I read Martyr because everyone was talking about Martyr, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. I kind of found it a little overrated, and I hope no one gets upset for me saying that. I don't know why everyone... Was it even a National Book Award finalist? Okay. I don't know if it was up for a Booker or not. I have no idea. I think he lives in the United States, and Booker doesn't do US? I'm not sure. You know, so I'm reading stuff like that, which, you know, James Baldwin, but then right now I'm reading Anywhere with You, which is like kind of a romantic comedy with a little bit of literary fiction in it. And today I bought The Savage Detectives by Roberto Bolaño. And I always listen to those guys' Life on Books, and I think they're just too highbrow for me. I could never read everything. Infinite Jest and Gravity's Rainbow, I don't know if those books interest me, and they're huge books. But I was in Barnes & Noble today, and I read the back of The Savage Detectives description of the book, and I said, you know, this might interest me. And I think it's considered postmodernism. I'm not really sure, but I'm excited to read this. I want to just try something different. At the same time, I want to read something like Sky Daddy, which is just off the wall and fun. Four Squares, which I think everyone should read, especially if you're in your like late 40s and 50s, whether you're gay or straight. It's about life changes. You know, things aren't the same when you're in your 20s than you are in your 50s. I certainly know that. You know, I read I Cheerfully Refuse lately. I think this is a fantastic book. It's different, and you should check that out by Leaf Anger. And, you know, I want to talk about my friend's book. It's a, not young adult, this is, I believe, middle grade, But I want to talk about things like that. I just want to talk about what I want to talk about. At the same, serious books like The Savage Detectives, and then, Under the Whispering Door, which I think people consider T.J. Klune to be whimsical because of Under the Cerulean Sea or whatever it is. This book is a lot better than that book. And I enjoyed that book, but this is so much better, and it's a little bit serious too. And, I want to go to bed and read Legend and Lattes. So my reading is all over the place. What is the name of your channel and why did you choose it? So it's called What Stephen Reads, as you know. On Instagram, I have a second Instagram profile called What Stephen Sees, and I love photography, so I started a page for that. And then I was going to change it to What Stephen Draws, but that didn't happen. So the art stuff and the photography stuff is on What Stephen Sees. So when it came time to do YouTube, I decided on What Stephen Reads. And by the way, my Instagram for book stuff is Pinocchio's Quest. So check that out. There's a link on top of my profile here on BookTube. Let's see. What kind of books do you plan to cover? I think we just did that. I just went through a whole list of books here on the table. Also coming up is going to start a special series that'll take time as I read through the books, but we'll get to that next week, I hope. Let's see. Why do you love reading? So for me, it was really an outlet I was on the tail end of a bad anxiety thing. Not to get into too much detail, but reading, I found that book, In the Lives of Puppets, and I just realized that reading was a great little escape to relax and just to get into another world other than watching TV shows and YouTube and Instagram and scrolling. So it was really about finding an outlet to do something for anxiety. That's the honest truth. What book or series got you into reading? Well, there is a video, I think that was my first video, 5 or 6 books that got me reading. So in that was In the Lives of Puppets, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which that book really is great. I just found it fantastic. Under the Whispering Door was in that list, I believe. The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi, just a nice, fun adventure book. That was awesome. Trying to think offhand what else was in that list. Those first few books. Lev A.C. Rosen's series about a gay private detective set in the late 1950s, I believe. Which that whole dynamic is just interesting. How he's kicked off the force, and now he can't even go to certain people to get information from because they know that he's gay, and getting beaten up in the book. It's horrible, but it's also a great detective series. Check that out, Lev A.C. Rosen. Other series I got into, what's the name of it? It's kind of like Harry Potter-ish, but with adults, and I don't remember the name, but we'll talk about that series one day too. Let's see. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? My question would be the same things that, these questions are here. What made you do it? What got you into it? And a lot of them, how did you become so successful so fast? I'm just astounded. And I think, Books Are Sick. He's got a great page, great YouTube page. And I think he's just a likable guy, and people like watching him. And he's funny. He's a little bit quirky. He's a photographer, actually. And yeah, but I'd like to know, what drove you to do it initially, and why do you think that your page took off so well? What genres do you typically read? So when I started off reading, I thought I was just going to be into fantasy, a la In the Lives of Puppets, which is fantasy / science fiction. So yeah, I started accumulating a bunch of science fiction and fantasy books. And then I read Four Squares, which was literary fiction. And I love that. Master and Margarita, magical realism. I don't know if it's considered, it's obviously fantasy, but that book is just wacky, and it was great. And then just read a couple of classics. Got John Steinbeck, The Cannery. It was just a little book about people. And I was like, this has nothing to do with fantasy or science fiction. it's just a great freaking read. Like, you'll just learn about these people's daily lives. I love that book, The Cannery. I gotta read the sequel. Let's see. Yeah, so as far as genres go, I'm all over the place. You Are Here, which is not in the romance section, but it is a romance book by David Nichols. I love that book. And then I read some Emily Henry? Yeah, is that right? Not Emily Thorne? Who's Emily Thorne? I don't know who that is. Just fantastic. Yeah, the classics. Horror books. What is it? Cañas with the Vampires of El Norte, I thought was fantastic. So yeah, I'm just all over the place with genres. Now, with The Savage Detectives by Roberto Bolaño, I believe those two guys refer to this as postmodernism. So I don't even know what that means technically as far as literature goes. So we'll see if that's going to be a new genre for me. And yeah, so that's the whole genre thing. Let's see. And that's all the questions I see here. I'm sure there's more questions. But yeah, I will find my audience. People who want to hear me ramble on about books and going from a super popular book right now to something that came out in 1946 or whatever it is, or different genres. So I invite you to join me each week. I'm still going to try and do 2 videos a week. The vlog on the weekends, and then something on Wednesday about a more specific topic, or maybe just about a couple of books I want to talk about. But yeah, don't expect me to focus on TBRs and even book hauls. I'm not going to do book haul videos either, I don't think. I'd rather just show you what book I bought that week, if I did buy a book, in my weekend vlog or on a Wednesday episode, instead of saving them to have a big pile of books and then show you all of them. So thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment if you have any more questions you'd like to know, or a book recommendation, or maybe a recommendation for me. And tell me if you have seen my other videos that I've been doing the past few weeks. Tell me what was bad about them, what was great about them. I'm up to hear anything, and I appreciate you watching. All right, take care.